This video is brought to you by Skillshare.
Hello interwebs and welcome to my channel and welcome to a very special day because if you are watching this video the day it goes up, June 18th, 2021, today is in fact my birthday. My 29th birthday, in fact. Yep, it's actually my last year of my 20s. That's exciting for me. But I figured since it's been kind of a lot of harder videos lately on this channel, I wanted to do something kind of fun for my birthday. And to be very honest with you, fun may not be the right word for this video. Well, let me put it this way. It's going to be fun for all of you. I guarantee you're going to get a laugh out of this. It's going to be less fun for me because this is going to be kind of cringy for me to do. In fact, it was actually very cringy for me to make this video. And I think it requires a little bit of explanation up front what this video is before we actually dive into the fun celebration part of it. So many of you may already know this if you've been following my channel for a while because I did dramatic readings of these about a year or so ago, early on into this global pandemic for like funsies during live streams. But for those of you who don't know, I actually, way back when I was in elementary, middle, and high school, used to write Star Trek fan fiction, and also fan fiction for other things, but the main one was Star Trek fan fiction. It was not great. Like I said, I did dramatic readings of them on this channel. You can find them. Maybe I'll post one up here. They're not great, but I think they were kind of fun and showed like my desire to want to be creative, to want to be a writer, to try and express myself. Like, it was the beginnings of that. That's where that all comes from. So I'm not knocking it. It's a fun part of all of our journey, and I'm not knocking fan fiction as a whole because there is much greater fan fiction than I ever produced. But I also made a website, a very terribly designed website that I made all by myself, where I housed all of my fan fiction. And on that website, I recently discovered, and that I had forgotten that I had made, that I did an interview with myself. Yes, if you go onto this fanfiction website, this terribly designed fanfiction website, you will find an interview that I wrote about myself and did with myself about my fan fiction. So for today's video, I figured I would give you a dramatic reenactment of that interview. So yes, I am basically going to be interviewing my 12-year-old self. Like I said, it's going to be very cringeworthy, it's going to be very funny, and I hope all of you will enjoy it. And how this is going to be done is there's going to be two characters of me that you're going to see in a second, and the interviewer, I did write some lines and some added humor for his character, but everything said out of my sort of author character in that was what I wrote as a 12-year-old. So everything that comes out of that character's mouth will be exactly what I wrote. And the interviewer I added a little bit of flavor, but the questions are all basically exactly the same. And I have to say, like I've been joking about, this is very cringeworthy. There's a lot of dumb stuff that I say as a 12-year-old. But the other thing, too, that I took away from this is that I actually haven't changed all that much. Hopefully I'm a much better writer and much less cringeworthy in the things that I say. I even compare myself to Shakespeare at one point, look for that. But there's a certain core of who I am today that I was actually kind of shocked was still found in that 12-year-old who was a closeted trans person, didn't know how to express herself as a trans person, was still figuring herself out. And so despite that, almost, over a decade later and change later, I still am kind of the same person in a lot of ways. And I've just become more of me. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. Like, despite transitioning, despite everything that's happened in the world, I still kind of am me at heart. And I thought that was kind of nice. But also there's a lot of cringe in there too. So I thought for my birthday it'd be a fun time to look back and share this with all of you and have a laugh at my own expense. So I hope that you enjoy. But before we get into the fun of that, I am happy to announce that today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Yes, I know, I got sponsored by Skillshare, everybody. That's how you know you've officially made it as a YouTuber. But seriously, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators where you can explore new skills, learn how to better approach your passions, and build your creativity. I've been recently going through some of their classes, and I was actually surprised by how many specific and intriguing classes they actually have there. Some of the ones that stood out for me are Activism, Creating Inspiring Art for Change by Nicholas Smith, a really cool class that talks about how we can use art to actually make a difference in the world. But the one class that I've taken so far, Dandy Liu's How to Film Solo Without the FOMO class, is one that really helped me out. As many of you know, I'm a one-woman show on this channel, so I learned so much about how to make my videos even better despite doing this, all by my lonesome. But I'm sure no matter what, Skillshare will have a class for you. It's curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads and there are always new premium classes being offered, so you can stay focused and keep finding new ways to expand your creativity. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore that creativity. Plus, it also helps me out, and it's my birthday, so it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win for all of us. So go check out Skillshare. But now, on with the cringeworthy show.
Fun will now commence.
Welcome to the Book Nook Look, a show where we talk to the best and brightest writers of our generation. Or the next generation, if you will. Ha ha. I made a funny. I shall have to punish myself later for that. I am your host, as always, Lionel Miles Unabridged. And today, I'm talking to the effervescent Jessie Earl about her latest masterpiece, Star Trek Mirror Wars, a fan fiction series set in the futuristic utopia where aliens have sex once every 7 years. A truly unimaginable paradise that I can't even dream of. Truly, you are a master Imagineer, Miss Jessie Earl. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, Lionel. Yes, I imagine you would have to say that. Well, let's get to the question gauntlet. When did you decide you wanted to write? I always loved English class. I loved reading, and even as a kid, about 5 or 6, I read a lot of books. In fact, when I was, I believe 7 or so, my dad came into my room at bedtime to tuck me in, but instead, he read me a book. It was called The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It took us a few weeks to finish, but to this day, it remains my favorite book. I mean, I've read it several times. In fact, I'm reading it for the 14th time right now. I felt that writing could take you to new worlds. You could literally do anything you want. You could visit far-off lands or discover a conspiracy deep within our own government. You could see into the future where peace and love is supreme, or see the desperation of the past and present. I loved writing and felt that it was key to the whole universe, if you let it. What made you decide to write in this fantastical, sex-filled Star Trek universe? Ever since my father gave me the Star Trek Nemesis book on tape, I loved Star Trek. When I first listened to it, I didn't have any idea what was actually going on, but then I watched the actual series and I finally understood. And since then, I have seen almost every episode of Star Trek, own over 200 Star Trek books, and borrowed hundreds more from my local library. I am now, and forever will be, a Trekkie. Stupid Star Trek joke there, folks. I loved the imagination of the universe, and through thousands of books, 5 TV series, personally I think Deep Space Nine is the best, 1 cartoon, 10 movies, and billions upon billions of Star Trek fan fiction series and films, the stories have not dried up. I mean, think about it. Star Trek stories are like a well that cannot be emptied no matter what. The characters are always great. Star Trek has always shown a brighter future. I knew that if I really wanted to write, I would have to start there. How does it feel to be doing your own alternate universe, which is a term I just made up because I'm so incredibly clever, in the established Star Trek universe? Does it make you feel as inadequate as my husband does to me? Quite good. I'm creating an entire universe. I hold the mold, just as Gene Roddenberry did for the originally series. Through the basic shape of the universe is there, it still needs to be perfected, molded carefully. Anything can happen in that universe. Friends are now foes, worlds that are here are not the same there. I am an artist. My stories are my canvas. What made you decide to do this mirror universe? Is it your penchant for a universe full of overly bearded men? Well, I always liked the mirror universe. The first mirror universe episode I saw was the first Deep Space Nine episode of it. I can't think of the episode name at the moment. I read all the books, and I always felt that even though lots of episodes took place there, it was still an untapped power. Going back to the well metaphor, except this time, the well had more water in it. I felt that there could be more said here. Plus, I always liked the counterpart R-Universe hero relationships, especially the Kira Shikar. Many of your stories are set in the far future of the Star Trek universe, which is beyond the realms of established canon, I guess we should say. Does that give you free reign over the universe? Is this question leading enough? Actually, the Star Trek Mirror Wars story started out to take place only a few years after Star Trek Nemesis. Originally, a ship from the TOS era would find a sort of unknown space station, then find many secrets on it. Then, when they start to leave, it explodes, sending them into the future a few years after Nemesis. The battle against the Mirror Universe has already begun, and the Federation is on the brink of destruction. Even though the old TOS ship would not survive a real battle against the Mirror Universe ships, the Federation lets it join the fleet and refits it so even though it wouldn't win a battle, it could survive one. Eventually, the crew finds an alternate version of themselves, and soon they become mortal enemies. In the end, they learn that the mysterious space stations were the key to winning the war. They eventually destroy the Mirror crew, activate all the space stations, win the war, but not before the captain dies to activate the last station. You know. This takes place over 4 or 5 seasons or so. It was actually quite good. I know that was a long explanation, but I like long explanations. Just see my science quiz from today. Sorry, that's a joke for myself. I guess that the story sort of fell apart. I started to write it, but I had too many mistakes. I couldn't explain some things, so I decided to start over. This time, to avoid any more problems, I started in the future. Given your particular love for atrocious theme songs and 1990s science fiction stars, will you ever write any Star Trek Enterprise stories? Actually, I have a few times. If you haven't heard of it, there is a Star Trek Enterprise Virtual Seasons project. They are really great authors and stories. They have just finished the 5th season and will start the 6th in October. I expressed my desire to write for the 6th season when they do it, and they said that I probably could. Also, I have an idea in the works for an episode for the next season of Mirror Wars. Spoiler alert! Though not an Enterprise episode per se, it will involve at least one, if not more, Star Trek Enterprise characters. Many people wonder about the Miyoshi Sado and what happened to her at the end of the episode. I have an idea that will bring her to the 27th century with a few characters that were thought dead, including one from TNG. I plan for it to be the 2nd episode for Season 2, but things might change, but for now, it will stay right there. Spoiler end! That was overly aggressive, but any thoughts you would care to share with others on writing, given that this is a writing show? Practice. I hope one day to be an author that will rival William Shakespeare himself. The purpose of this series is for practice. I want to use this series as a learning experience. I want to learn how to get ideas. If you want to be a writer, write a story. Come up with an idea and write it down, and don't mind spelling mistakes and such. Just put it down and don't stop until it's finished. Everything and everyone has a story. A rock has a story. Maybe the rock that you walked on was once a giant boulder that slammed into an ancient fort and won the battle. Or maybe it was an asteroid but burnt up and that is all that's left. The purpose of a writer is to find and write down the story of that rock, or anything they want, whether it be true or just fiction. Write the story down and don't let it be forgotten. Comparing yourself to Shakespeare. Truly a humble and elegant metaphor. And a rock! What a brilliantly evocative image. Anything else you would care to share with your readers? I hope they like my series. I hope one day to become a Star Trek screenplay writer. That is my dream. Don't give up on your dreams. My greatest hope is that you may be watching a Star Trek series yet to come and see the credits and see under written by my name. Continue reading my stories and see for yourself if I may one day be that writer. I may not be a great writer now, but by the end of the series, I hope my stories will be epic and worthy of song. Another stupid Star Trek joke. Thank you for reading my series and this interview. I hope to read email from all of you about what you think of my stories. I am always open to constructive criticism. I know my work is not perfect. Tell me what needs fixing in your opinion, and I will try to work on it. If you don't, I'll probably never be as good as I could be. I do wish my husband was as openly philosophical as you. He never seems to stop criticizing me. But regardless, I'm sure there is much to criticize about your own work over the years. But it's been amazing to have you here in the Book Nook Look, sponsored by Skillshare as always. We look forward to seeing your next work, but next week, please don't forget to join us as I have my husband on and we work out our marital problems in front of all of you. It should be a exciting time. Until then, stay literate. Thank you so much.
Hey, hello. Hello there, Andrew. I'm sorry, just getting settled. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I kind of enjoyed making it. There was a lot of cringe. And it was like, as I was filming that, it was like super awkward at certain points. I'm like, God, did I actually write this as a kid? Oh boy. But it was really fun to do. And I just wanted to say a couple final things on my birthday before this video wraps up. The first thing is like, rereading that and then filming that interview, this thing that I wrote years and years ago. It was kind of really nice to see, like I said, how little I've changed in a lot of ways. Like, as we get older, I'm going to be 30 in a year. And as we get older, we start to wonder, like, how much have I changed? Have I lost some of that heart, some of that, like, that love and that drive that I had as a kid? And I mean, obviously being trans, you change a lot too. So you're constantly wondering, like, how much have I changed? And a lot of it's positive. Like, I feel like I've changed and grown and become a better person throughout my life. And that's really something I'm very proud of. But there's something core to who I am and my humanity and what I like to believe about myself. Like the striving to be someone better, striving to care about others, striving to be good, striving to try to make the world a better place, and sort of filtering that through my Star Trekian, geeky, nerdy view of the world. I wonder, it's like, have I lost that? Have I changed that? Has that morphed in any ways? In ways that maybe lose some of its luster or some of its heart. And I go back and reread this, and there's so many elements of it that I'm just sort of like, yeah, that's sort of stuff that I still stay today. I still stay in videos like this. I have changed so much physically and in being, well, I'm not that mature, but in a little bit of being mature, but I haven't lost the heart of who I am. And I'm honestly rather proud of that. And it's kind of nice to be reminded of that and to know it's like, no, you're still a child at heart and you still have that love for others and humanity. It was a nice reminder of who I am and what I'm striving for in my life. The other thing too is just like the listening to the goals of that young me and how much they haven't changed in some ways and changed a lot in others. I still strive to do something officially Star Trek. My big dream as a kid, I said I wanted to write for Star Trek. I mean, I still would love to write or direct a Star Trek show, but honestly now it's just like I would love to do voice acting in Star Trek or honestly create audio dramas in Star Trek. Cause that's weirdly my thing that I'm like passionate about. I mean, obviously I still have a lot to do in terms of my professional career to possibly one day get there. But it's my dream to contribute to Star Trek professionally in some way. But it's not my only goal in my life, but it is something like that would be a dream come true at some point. So yeah, I'm still pushing for that, and maybe one day, or maybe never. But there are other things that I strive for now, trying to be an advocate for trans people, the LGBTQ community, trying to be a nerdy and geeky person and just have fun with life as well. Trying to teach, love and compassion. That's all there. And it's sort of something that started there but has grown and become much more a big part of who I am. So that's always nice to remind myself of. And the final thing that I just I wanted to say before I wrap up this video on my birthday is all of that stuff that I was just talking about. That is stuff that I'm actually doing. But the reason that I'm able to do it, and the reason that it's actually meaningful, as I've talked about in numerous other videos, is because of all of you. This community, this thing that has happened here on YouTube around this channel. You know, it's still small, but it's growing, and I'm always appreciative of it. I'm appreciative of all of you and your kindness and your caring and your beauty in so many ways, and I don't think I could have asked for a better birthday present than just getting to share my nerdy, geeky self with all of you. So thank you to all of you for everything. Thank you for helping me build this channel and this community. And thank you for just giving a girl the best birthday gift she could have gotten, which is a kind and caring and loving community. So on that note, I just hope that you all, as always, live long and prosper. It's time for Pride Month and time to celebrate my Patreons. Catherine Lambeth, Miranda Janelle, Ashley Allen, Bo Kikio, Ela Bergmas, Morgan the Pirate Queen, Ashlyn Solstice, Greg Gillum, James Elizabeth, Stephen Kleinard, Randy Thompson, Barbara Ruski, Samuel Howard, Felicia Toast, Alex, Boyd and Mary Beth, Earl, Wellington Marcus, Stephen Schuhart, Kate, Miki Teen, Bush, April Struck, Base, A Man Chooses, A Slave Obeys, Corian Vale Honkanen, James Krivda, Ish the Mad, Dominic Noble, Buttoneer, Jessica Wright, Jared Johnson, Peter Landers, Ferengito, John Steele, Carmen Olson, Meadow Whisperer, William Stewart, Maggie the Goblin, Ulysses the Pagan, Melinda Walters, Joy A, Alex Owen, Barbara Halechuk, Hieresis, The Auth 13, Jason Knott, John Weatherby, Celestial Dawn, Lamia, Sky Skinner, Andrew K, Maeve, Nathan Steele, Sean Piper, Tiffany Danger, Flynn, Troy Stull, Sky Dodo, Amanda Comet, Ava Canevia, Geek Filter, Janie Packard, Polymena Din, Laura Demereau, Marina Carr, Gretchen Badger, Ellie O'Dare, Sarah Bystam, W. Randy Edie, Jacob Tovar, Strawberry Pup Tart, Keith Briggs, Pissed and Twisted Garage, Lysa, Mountain Harpy, Jessica Chapman, Andrew Lamoureux, Sarah Sweeney, Nikki Gordon Bloomfield, Emily Loomis, Mari Mack, Zone 1 Librarian Ver, Jenny Mabel, Michael Hardy, Pasty, Michael Godey, Philip Hawkins, Andy H. You're the best. I love all of you. You're freaking amazing. Thank you so much for making this possible. Happy Pride, everybody.